Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. This is the big match preview ahead of Manchester United against Chelsea at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final. And this is a game that I cannot wait for. I don't know if you've heard, but I absolutely adore the FA Cup. I love it. I love the FA Cup. Always been a fan of it since I was a kid. Do you remember those days watching it on television? Obviously, back in the day, you never used to have games televised week in, week out, day in, day out. You'd get Champions League games if you were lucky on ITV, and then obviously you had various FA Cup games televised on national TV. Occasionally you'd get to a pub or you'd get a little bit of Sky if we were paying our bill and I'd get some extra football. But generally speaking, it was strictly FA Cup final was a big thing, and just watching the team buses coming in, the bird's eye view, Wembley Towers, all those kind of things. They bring back great memories. And my first memories of the FA Cup, obviously it's not the first cup final when I was alive, but the first actual memories I have of an FA Cup final is beating Chelsea 4-0 in Wembley in the 1994 cup final. 2 penalties by Eric Cantona. I think Brian McClair scored the 4th goal. And it was a day in the rain where Manchester United won 4-0 against Chelsea at Wembley. Now, if United win tomorrow, it will be 4-0 to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer against Lampard in victories this season. We've beaten them twice in the league. That's a head-to-head and a back-to-back double in the league. And, of course, we did them in the League Cup as well. Remember Marcus Rashford's fantastic free kick? Yeah. So you got a pretty good record against them. Opening day of the season, we won 4-0 against Chelsea at Old Trafford. You know, we've had a good record. Solskjaer's got a good record against Lampard, but I'm not taking that for granted in this game. Chelsea, yes, they've got big injuries to the likes of N'Golo Kante, but they still have players that on their day can cause you problems. I think it's madness how they're still hanging on in there in the top 4. Obviously Spurs have had upheaval of management, Arsenal as well, United had a pretty abysmal in between, like start of the season and the middle of the season was awful. So you just think of, they've been able to hang in there because United haven't capitalised. We have closed the gap till 4th now, but regardless of that, this is the cup, and we have to beat them. We have to beat them now. We find out tonight, if you're watching this live or before the Arsenal-Manchester City game, who will be the first team into the hat for the final. I say into the hat, we all know what it's going to be. It's either going to be, could it be a North London club go through or Manchester club? And then you've got obviously Chelsea out from North London, but another London club against another Manchester club. So you could have an all London or all Manchester final or a mix and match, just like we've seen in the semi-finals. That's the thing as well. You know it's a big game ahead in the final if you win this one. So it's not like you can think, oh yeah, we've nearly got our hands on that trophy, because you potentially got Manchester City in the final. Although, as a United fan, I'd be quietly confident of facing any of them. I was quietly confident in the semi-final draw, even though it was, you look at it and there's some big hitters in there. United, City, Arsenal, Chelsea. On paper, I feel confident going up against Chelsea, Arsenal. Now City, obviously, they've got a better team than us, but you look at them and they've been, not great against us, partly because of what we've done. So you'd think we could cause them problems. So I'm confident if we can get through, we can win the final. But we've got to get through first, and we've got to beat Chelsea to get into that final. So we'll be previewing that game, the game ahead, the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley between Manchester United and Chelsea. Recent memories against them in the FA Cup. Obviously, we beat them 2-0 at Stamford Bridge under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think I've got the match day programme somewhere here, because I remember commentating on that game. Let's see if I can find that one. Oh, gonna absolutely ruin everything in the process, but I think I've got, there it is. So this was when we beat them in the cup under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I commentated on the game for BBC Manchester, which was a pretty cool experience. It's the first time and only time I've done co-commentary. I thought I nailed it. Haven't been given a call back since. maybe I was too biased, I don't know. But you look at some of the players that are on this list here of the team against Chelsea. You got De Gea, Lindelof, Bailly, obviously still there. Phil Jones is there, he's not going to be involved. Sanchez is there. Lukaku, Smalling, Rojo, Young, Herrera, Valencia, Darmian, Joshua Bohi, Angel Gomez. So there's a lot of players that aren't even at the club anymore. And this was like just over a year ago in terms of footballing sense, because obviously this would be in May. That game was in February 2019. So like 15 months of football between then and now. United won that game 2-0. I remember Paul Pogba scoring. Who scored the other one? Was it Ander Herrera who scored the other one? Can't remember exactly, but yeah, that was a good time for United to beat them, wasn't it? So yeah, really enjoyed that game. But we have got other memories as well, where we had Phil Jones against Eden Hazard. We had, which wasn't pretty, and they beat us in the final. We had the final in the first FA Cup final at the new Wembley. Remember Drogba scoring in that one? That was a devastating one. I do remember a 5-3 game at Stamford Bridge. If I said the year, I'd be guessing, but it was around 95, 96, maybe 90. Nah, it would have been 95, 96. Beckham scored 2 and did this in the goals at Stamford Bridge. That was a great time to be alive. But it was around that period of time. David Beckham was quite young and had the curtains. And I remember the shirt was the collar, which went from white to black. So we're probably thinking 95, 96. So in terms of, you know, United Chelsea, we have a lot of rivalry in the Premier League, but also in the FA Cup as well, and some memorable moments over the years for both them and for us. Now coming into this game, you kind of think they have got the advantage in terms of, you know, less travel. If United did travel back after the game against Palace, I'm not sure if we stayed in London or not. I assume we travelled back, so we got more travel, less rest time. You know, so we've got to think they've got the advantage there. Big miss for them in N'Golo Kante. United could be without Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams. Now what was interesting was after after Luke Shaw had driven into training the day after he suffered the injury against Southampton, he was driven into training the other day. Now, I don't know if his partner was going to work and she dropped him off on the way to work like any other couple does or whatever. We could just be assuming things from that. But if she had to drive him into work because of the fact that he couldn't drive due to his ankle, then that obviously doesn't bode well for the FA Cup semi-final. And we've got to say that in terms of the FA Cup, in terms of Luke Shaw's performances, they've been pretty positive, haven't they? So yeah. Do any of you guys think United are going to rotate any of the team? Obviously, we'll have my predicted 11 coming up for you a little bit later on. But there's rumours Jesse Lingard could start. I know Steve was talking about that in his preview. There's also been a few articles as well in British press, maybe just hinting at Jesse Lingard starting. Now, I thought he had a decent cameo when he came off the bench against Crystal Palace, as did Nemanja Matic. And I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them start. Me personally, you guys can get your thoughts in the comments below. Get your super chat, your comments in. But me personally, I think there will be a number of changes, but not a whole host. I think Romero De Gea's a 50-50. You could see Romero come in, but your goalkeeper, do they need rested really? Maybe mentally, but not physically. And I'm sure David De Gea wouldn't really want to be rested for this game. I think we might see a change at centre half just to freshen things up there. And you could see Eric Bailly start. I think we will see a different left back, regardless of whether Brandon Williams or Luke Shaw are fit. I think we'll see Williams or Diogo Dalot come in. Diogo Dalot was on the bench against Crystal Palace. I can't see Timbo Fosu Mensah starting 2 games in a row. I kind of feel like Luke Shaw's injury was the worst of the two between him and Brandon. Brandon's got some bruising on his eye. The swelling is going down. Obviously, you could probably play with a black eye, but I'm not sure how his vision is. He was driving, if we're using that theory. He drove himself into training, so I imagine Brandon Williams could be available, or Diogo Dalot. I assume Fosu Mensah is not going to start, and Luke Shaw's not going to be available. I've got that feeling. In midfield, I think Matic will come in. I wasn't impressed with McTominay, really. Now, there could be various factors for that. But McTominay and Fred haven't showed great form when they've been coming in. We saw Matic come off the bench and immediately improve things against Palace. And I think Nemanja Matic will be starting in this game. I could see McTominay and or Fred being used against West Ham. We've got after this, haven't we? So I could possibly see that. But Jesse Lingard's the one I want to talk about, because obviously a decent cameo isn't enough to save a United career. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had some positive things to say about him in the build-up to this game. I'll find some of those quotes now. Just bear with me. So, 1 second. He said, in regards to the team selection, he said the team is not selected yet. This is Solskjaer, and that goes for Jesse and Sergio. They have got a good chance of being involved. We'll make a decision on that later on. He also said, I'm trying to find a quote on Jesse Lingard that he said. That's it. He said Jesse's a part of the club and has worked really hard and deserves his chance to come back in. We know his qualities. We know he has got different qualities to other players, and he knows we value him. Now, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has maybe been, like, while we've seen Jesse Lingard hasn't been selected and hasn't been, picked for Manchester United, maybe Ollie's played him, not been impressed with him, and said to him, Jess, I want to work with these things on you on the training pitch. I want to see you get back to that, affecting and impacting the games the way we know you can. And let's just work on that, and I'll introduce you to the team at a later date. We may have seen that. Now, I still think he is fighting for his United career, especially if we look to strengthen the team and maybe sign a right winger and sign someone in those attacking midfield areas, the positions that he plays in. But I personally feel he offers more to United than Andreas Pereira at the top of their games, Daniel James at the top of their games. Daniel James obviously comes in, he's probably got a higher ceiling due to his age, and he's obviously got the benefit of just being signed to United. But I still think Jesse Lingard on form tactically is better in terms of playing a role in that number 10, pressing high, causing errors, finding spaces. He does those things well and links up with his teammates when he's on form, but we haven't seen that recently. We've seen a little bit of good form from him, but it's not enough. But he could be getting a chance. Now, whether that's from the start or from the bench, it remains to be seen. But I've got a sneaky feeling Jesse Lingard could be given a start, especially when you consider, Mason Greenwood's taken a knock recently. We've seen various different things like that. Daniel James, he doesn't have the ability to press and hold the ball up as maybe, Jesse does. Although in behind is better than Jesse. When teams press out, he's better in behind. He's better against a fatigue defence. But I think this could be a game for Jesse Lingard. We've seen in the past the front three of Rashford, Marshall and Lingard has worked well. Will we see that again? One more time for the road? Who knows? But sneaky chance that he could be involved. Ross says he does a job, Lingard, but he was missing that quality he has had when he was under Mourinho. Adam said, do you think Lampard will play his strongest team? We'll talk about Chelsea a little bit later on in the show. We'll save this section of the show for strictly Manchester United conversation. Paul says Lingard for some reason hasn't been the same since the World Cup. Prior to that he was in form. There has been a drop off since then, hasn't there? Ollie can prove any player, I believe, just through being positive, says Kyle. I think obviously different players require different things, and I think he'll showcase different facets of his personality behind closed doors as well, Ollie. I think he'll be more demanding of some players. I think he'll be more arm around the shoulder to some players, and I think he'll be like that, with different players, he'll be in different ways. That's the way you've got to be as a manager. You can't treat everybody the same because not everybody is the same. Obviously, I'm not saying you treat everybody equally, but everybody ticks differently mentally and all those kind of things. So you have to approach different players in different ways. But this could be a chance for Jesse Lingard. I'm not saying it will, but I got a feeling it could be starting. And there's a few rumours out there as well. Ronaldo Brown is in the comments. What's going on, lad? How you doing? Unless he's got an imposter. Yeah, it might be an imposter when he's tweeting those kind of messages. Although I'm sure I am an inspiration for him. Who do you think will be in the final and who will win it? I'll give you my predictions as well at the end of this game after we get my predicted 11 out. Keep the front three of Rashford, Martial and Greenwood, says Naveen. Now we've obviously seen recently that Mason Greenwood, it's weird because he still had good parts in the game. He still probably could have done better in parts as well. But Mason Greenwood hasn't quite been as on fire as he was a week or so ago. Now, things can change very quickly. I think he's someone that's got the killer instinct for a goal. I think he's also a player as well. And he's done it when he's scored and had good games. He goes throughout a game sometimes, just drifts for it. Doesn't really impact things much. And then he'll pop up, sprint, got the skills, got the step overs, got the finish. And then you'll be remembering his name after the game. So I think he does have that ability to kind of coast through a game and then just, boom, come to life and score a goal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him start, although I've got a feeling he probably won't. Has Greenwood taken Lingard's spot, says Shah. I think he's not only taking Lingard's spot, he's taking Daniel James's spot as well. Although Danny James he plays predominantly from the left. You never know, Lingard could surprise us, says Rebecca. I'd like to see more of Igalo. I'm no Jose Mourinho, but Bruno and Pogba using the target man is awesome, says Hamza. West Ham game is several times more important than the Chelsea one, says Galaglock. I think you've got to take each game as it comes, and that's a big cliche. But having said that, we have to take each game as it comes. The FA Cup final comes at the end of the season. Fucking hell! I just opened up Flash Scores to see what was going on in the world of football, and I've seen that Norwich are down to 9 men because they've had 2 men sent off by the 48th minute. Jeebus, what's going on there? So that's what I wanted to do. United's fixtures. So how many days in between these 2 games? 3 days. So we play them on Wednesday. So if you win that game against Chelsea, you don't feel tired against West Ham. But I think he'll make the odd change, but not many. I really do. Jadon Sancho transfer close news, says Hamid. It's been close for ages. When it's done, it'll be done in it, and we'll be saying it's done. I imagine it will happen, and I think it will happen. But let's not. It's an FA Cup semi-final coming up. I'm not going to talk about players that aren't here yet, unless it's actually done. I do think the West Ham game is massively important. I was glad they beat Watford the other day for the simple fact that they may now take their eye off the ball for this game because they're pretty much safe, aren't they? They're pretty much safe. Right, we're 20 minutes into the show. Kyle Martinson saying, what is the starting lineup? Wow, let's open up the starting lineup. I haven't got an OBS up bell end like Cam, so I have to do it myself. But here we go. We've got David De Gea in goal, in my goal. I think personally, you're in an FA Cup semi-final, you go with your best goalkeeper. I know Sergio Romero doesn't usually do us wrong, but I think you go with your best goalkeeper, and that is David De Gea. I think we'll see Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly, Williams. I don't think a black eye is going to keep Brandon Williams out of this team and out of this game. It's an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Regardless of there being no fans, Brandon Williams is going to want to play. And if Luke Shaw isn't available, I'm sure he'll be knocking down the door of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and saying, yo, I know my eye looks a mess. I can play. I can see. Look, I was driving into work. I can see. So, for me, Brandon Williams has to start. Then I think we'll see Matic and Pogba. Obviously, McTominay started against Crystal Palace. Matic came off the bench. I think we'll see Matic start in this game. And obviously, Paul Pogba alongside him. Again, go with your strongest midfield. It's an FA Cup semi-final. I think Lingard will come in for Mason Greenwood. I think Bruno will play. I think Rashford plays. And I think Anthony Martial plays. Now, obviously, you've got the options of Ighalo, and we'll read some Ighalo quotes which have come out over the last couple of hours. In the last 24 hours. But I feel Martial and Rashford are scoring. They're playing well. You play them. You play them both. Because the simple fact, like he said it after Greenwood was scoring every game, he was like, I can't drop him. You're scoring goals for fun, do you know what I mean? I can't drop this guy. So I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be dropping Martial and Rashford. Now you could do what I do on FIFA, which is you split Martial and Rashford and you put Odion Ighalo through the middle in a 4-3-3, but I don't think we'll be going with that. I see Ighalo instead of Martial, says Ross Murphy. I hope Bruno gets rested for tomorrow's FA Cup match, says Hamid. I bet Bruno doesn't want to be rested for tomorrow's match. Paul B says, I'd say your 11 is about right there, mate. The only changes I could possibly see to this 11 are in goal for Romero. Midfield, you could possibly see one of Pogba and Bruno rested, but I'm not hanging my hat on it. And you could possibly see Greenwood or James start in place of Lingard. Ighalo possibly too, but I think it will be this. Martial scoring, Rashford scoring. You don't take them out, especially for an FA Cup semi-final. Sorry, you just don't do it. If we're gonna, you play Ighalo against West Ham, then if that's you can get. I think you can beat West Ham with Ighalo, Greenwood, Rashford. Ighalo, Greenwood, James. We could beat West Ham. We should be beating West Ham. So I know we lost against them earlier in the season, but do you know what I mean? This is a FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea. Ilya says Martial, no, Ighalo needs to start. Bailey says Martial is player of the season. I agree as well. But I believe that's so far. Martial and Rashford are like here. Bruno's also pushing up a little bit as well. But Martial and Rashford are here. Bruno's pushing up. I think Bruno's overtaken Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Fred. And then like you got all the other lot down here. But then I think you got Martial and Rashford up here, with Martial just a little bit ahead. And then you've got Bruno just sneaking in behind. I think, if we go to an FA Cup final, or we go to a Europa League final, and Bruno or Martial or Rashford is the leading figure in us doing that, then I believe that you could possibly see one of them get it. So I'm not saying it's done yet, but at the moment, if we were voting for Player of the Year, I'd give my vote to Martial. But Rashford is right there. Let's have a look at some team news for Chelsea now. Frank Lampard's been worrying like a little... He's been worrying. That's all I'm going to say. He's worried, is Frank Lampard. Now, let's have a look at some of these stats. Thank you to live scores, flash scores, whatever they want to call themselves these days. The FA Cup finals of 94, 2007 and 2018 get a semi-final rerun at an eerily empty Wembley Stadium. I will, by the way, be at Wembley. I won't be in the stadium, unfortunately, but I will be there for a pre-match show with ESPN. So make sure you're checking that out. And then I'm going to watch the game local. I've got family that live nearby. I'll watch that local. And then after we're done there, I can go, because their house is like literally next to Wembley. I'm going to go do a review. We've got Henry Winter lined up for a fan cam as well for Paddock. So we've got loads of, well, I say a fan cam, a view from the press box from Henry Winter. And we'll see who else is hanging about, if there's anybody about to do a socially distanced fan cam. So we will be, AdamMcKola TV and Paddock, having content from Wembley. Bailey Edwards, welcome I think it's welcome back, but welcome to the membership on AdamMcKola TV. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate your support. A little bit of win there. Across all competitions, Chelsea come into this one after 8 wins in their last 10 fixtures. Their average margin of victory across those 8 wins was 1.75 goals. Those are stats. With the last 6 of those wins seeing an odd-numbered winning margin. That could be 1, 3, 5. That's a really stupid stat. Both of Manchester United's FA Cup ties, won, drawn versus Chelsea, within the last 10 years have seen them lead precisely 2-0 at the interval. So if it's not 2-0 United at half-time, probably not going to win. Meanwhile, their only prior FA Cup semi-final stage clash versus Chelsea, March 1996, saw them win 2-1 after a second half won 2-0 via goals inside the 46th to 60th minute period. Each of Manchester United's last 5 FA Cup ties versus Premier League opposition have seen at least one goalless half, with 4 goalless first halves therein. These stupid stats. Furthermore, none of them produced a goal before the half-hour mark. What the fuck is this? It says, oh my diddly days, it says players to watch, Ross Barkley. Really? Are we watching Ross Barkley, ladies and gentlemen at home? I was going to go to Twitter and have a look at Chelsea's Twitter feed to see their team news. We know N'Golo Kante is out, but I thought, let me see their team news. And then I remembered I'm blocked by Chelsea. I'm blocked by Chelsea. I don't know either. No, actually, I do know. I checked it out. Basically, shout out Savage Dan, my old co-host. Savage Dan is an absolute legend, and he does work now. He's a Chelsea fan, which is a shame. He does work for Chelsea TV. So I quoted one of their videos saying something along the lines of, I fucking hate Chelsea, but it's so good to see Savage Dan doing well. And they blocked me. It's a bit unfair, isn't it? Right. ZX been joining in training. Good job, because he can't play. Fucking bit pointless, isn't it? So, pre-match briefing on the Chelsea website. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. They ain't got nothing there. Nothing there. Alright, we got some semi-final regulations. Should the scores be level after 90 minutes, there will be extra time and penalty kicks if required. The final, Saturday the 1st of August, a 4:30 PM kickoff. Cannot wait. Ain't got no team news for me, man. I just want to see team news. Oh, here we go. Lampard on Kante's fitness, Pulisic's physical improvement, and Man United's threat. The squad is okay, but Kante won't be fit for the match. He's still not right, so he's out. Other than that, we have a few people with a few little niggles, which we'll monitor over the next 24 hours, and then we will be ready to go. Manchester United standing between. We know they're playing well. They have a very potent front three, probably the most potent front three in the country on pure numbers. But you know, forget the numbers, we're just the most pro front three. Fernandes has made a huge difference. You see, we beat you before Fernandes, you bitch. You see the strength that's brought to their team with individual quality, but we know that. We have to be confident in ourselves, deal with their threats, and worry about us as well. Okay. Pulisic is a big threat for us, isn't he? I think Pulisic is a massive threat for Manchester United. I also think Olivier Giroud is a massive threat. Willian from set pieces, although he doesn't really threaten me that much in terms of Willian. You know, I wouldn't want United to sign him, but he's still a threat from set pieces. So I do see Chelsea have their strengths. I'd rather them start Tammy Abraham over Giroud, because I think Giroud's the better striker. And I think when you look at what Lindelof or Maguire struggle with, and one of them, well, Maguire not so much, but they can get shrugged out of the game sometimes a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And Giroud is not only a very good aerial presence, he holds the ball up well. I think he's always good when it comes to crunch time occasions, you know, the last 10-15 minutes in the game. So I do think Giroud is a massive threat for them. I think from set pieces they're a threat as well. Obviously Mason Mount, Willian from set pieces. But yeah, I feel like we have the better team. It's just who performs on the day, I guess. United have had less rest. That could be good or bad. You could look at it from the perspective that, well, we're still, you know, we've just come back from a game, you know, whereas Chelsea have maybe been waiting around a little bit for the match. United haven't had much time to think about it. We've been able to think about the Palace game and then get past the Palace game, and now you think about it, you've got 2 days. Whereas the Chelsea players have probably been imagining this game, how it will go down, playing it through their heads for a little bit longer than us. So it could possibly work both ways. I don't necessarily think that's always a negative. Obviously, if you have a setback in the game, or you know, there's times where your morale drops, then you know, if you're tired physically, then you're going to feel that a little bit more. But if you're playing well, I don't think you will feel the physical tiredness or the tiredness that is there. So I'm confident if we start with a strong enough team. I'm worried that we try and tinker a little bit too much. At the end of the day, we've got 3 games in a week. I know we've just played, but let's just go for it, in the words of Louis van Gaal. You know what I mean? Treat it like 3 finals. Then we'll have obviously a little bit of a wait until we'll have a week's rest until the FA Cup final if we can get there. And plus, like, I think just winning this game, the confidence that will breed, hopefully the morale, the damage that it can do to Chelsea, can have help us in the top 4 race as well. And we can just push on and end the season on a high. If you lose this game, of course, you can start to feel fatigued again, even more so. So, massive game for both teams. But I am quietly confident we'll get a result. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go to extra time. But I'm going for a 2-1 win to Manchester United, whether that is after extra time or in the 90 minutes. I did an interview for, I think it was 5 Live, and I said, 2-1 after extra time. I wouldn't be surprised to see that be the case, but I'm wary, man. I'm used to Chelsea like having a little bit of a good record against us, and so you go into it where the record's been mixed and you can't really predict what's going to happen. But I feel like when you go into it after your teams, especially, it's not like, all due respect to these teams, it's not like we're going to play Wigan or, West Ham or Watford or any of these teams. I know West Ham beat us last time and Watford beat us last time. Fucking hell. But the point I'm trying to make is, we're not used to beating Chelsea 4 times on the spin. How often does that happen? Do you know what I mean? So the odds are they're probably going to get a result. But I'm thinking, if that result is a draw after 90 minutes and then you win it after extra time, then you could say 3 wins and a draw in 4, which in actuality is a win because it's a cup game. So Spider-Man thinks it's going to be extra time and pens. Get your score predictions in. Let us know what you're thinking. We'll do a little on this day. 18th of July. 18th of July 2010, Sunday. Wes Brown rules out the prospect of growing an What? What? Is this really a story? I shit you not, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Wes Brown rules out the prospect of growing an afro for the upcoming season. Brown on tour with United in Philadelphia tells the Times, "I'm going for the skinhead look this season. A number 1 all over. I'm not going to do anything else with it, so the afro won't be coming back, I'm afraid." Right then, let's do the 19th of July one. Seeing as the FA Cup final is on the 19th of July, and we won't have a live stream on that day. So let's do the 19th of July. So the FA Cup semi-final against Chelsea will be on the anniversary of this that happened in 1993. Roy Keane begins one of the great Man United careers. The midfielder signs from Forest for a reported £3.75 million. Cork-born Keane starts playing for Cole Bramblers in his home country after failing to earn an apprenticeship in English football. Then Brian Clough takes him to Forest. He scores 2 in a 3-0 win against Sheffield United on his home United debut. Keane marches to glory with the Reds, winning the first of 7 Premiership titles in his first season. He also claims Champions League, Intercontinental Cup and 4 FA Cups. Keano's fucking magic. And it's the anniversary of him signing in 1993 tomorrow. And we do have Keano's book there. I'm a little bit scared to pull it out and get a little bit of a history lesson on Keano. Shall we read a little bit of Keano's book? This is book time with Keano. With me. It's Keano's book. Is there a foreword that we can read written by someone nice? There isn't a foreword. There isn't a foreword. Right. Here we go. Here's a quote about Roy Keane from Sir Alex Ferguson, which is on his book, Keane. If I was putting Roy Keane out there to represent Manchester United on a 1-against-1, we'd win the derby, the national, the boat race, and anything else. It's an incredible gift. It's an incredible thing he's got. And that, my friends, is a fucking fact. And if the players play with the spirit of Roy Keane against Chelsea at Wembley, we will be going through to the FA Cup final. That is my predicted 11. My predicted score is 2-1 Manchester United. Just before we go, Tommy Edgar said in a super chat, which is, should we play Igalo with his physical presence after seeing what Antonio did when they lost to West Ham? 3-0 is my prediction. Much love, bro. Much love to you. Thank you very much for joining us. And make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, liking, commenting, sharing, and just like Bailey, joining the channel as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the FA Cup preview, FA Cup semi-final preview. I'll be back at Wembley tomorrow. Got it. It's not like properly with the Reds, with a match day ticket, going into the ground, having a great time. It's going to be different, but we'll have a review from there, I guess. And that's a good thing, isn't it? Anyway, guys, I have been AdamMcKola. You lot have been legends. Keep it locked to AdamMcKola TV. For now, I am out of here. Wembley, Wembley, we're the famous Man United and we're going to Wembley.